All right, the feds walked through right through the door, turned on the cameras, and told employees to go home. They raided the factory of the iconic American company Gibson Guitars.
Well, Gibson Guitars CEO says it could have something to do with his political beliefs, and the recent scandals at the IRS and DOJ help prove his point. Henry Juszkiewicz is the CEO and chairman of Gibson. He joins us from Nashville. Henry, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So you were targeted by the IRS. Why?
Well, I'm not sure I was targeted by the IRS. It was the Fish and Wildlife Bureau in my case.
And because you were allegedly using some exotic woods that were illegal in this country?
Yes.
Were you?
No, we weren't. In fact, the issue really was pretty esoteric. It had to do about compliance with laws not in the United States but in those countries, and it had to do about the amount of labor content in the wood, and had nothing to do with conservation or that wood being endangered. Mm-hmm. And in the second raid, the wood that was seized was from India, and we got that wood back, and we continue to buy that wood legally as we had for many years.
Okay. Mr. Juszkiewicz, I remember covering this story a couple years ago when it happened. I believe it was in August of 2011. At the time, maybe it was only Fox News that was pointing out maybe it would have something to do with your political donations you have given to Republicans in the past. Do you now believe that in light of the IRS situation and the Department of Justice looking into reporters and potentially prosecuting them, that you now were also part of a pattern that was being orchestrated from Washington, D.C.?
Well, I don't know specifically that it had to do with my political leanings or beliefs, but I clearly believe that someone targeted our company inappropriately. There are many, many companies doing business with woods from other nations. Our company was very committed to conservation. I was on conservation organizations' boards, and we were in the process of certifying and all the wood sourcing. We had third-party certification, and you know, we were not high on the list of people you would go after. So clearly there was something else there.
I mean, there's so much pride. It's an American company. People have pride in guitars and what you guys bring to the table. Do you plan on taking action now and fighting back?
Well, I do intend on, we are precluded. Actually, one of the issues is there's a very short statute of limitations from our being able to have recourse. But the issue is really the system that allows people in particularly the executive branch to make decisions that are not on the basis of the intent of the law or what the American people would like to see happen.
Sure.
They could make decisions for very bad reasons and not be held accountable. And so I think there's a system problem, and I've committed myself to fighting that, you know, for years to come.
Well, it's cost you. It's cost you over $2 million fighting this thing from the government. You probably want your money back, don't you?
It cost, you know, just the goods that they seized without any due process, meaning we never were charged and we were never formally in a court of law to defend ourselves, was on the order of $5 million.
But why,
just the legal fees.
Mr. Juszkiewicz, why can you not explain the statute of limitations?
Well, there is a statute of limitations that you have to file an action within 12 months in our particular case. And that statute is a state statute, so it varies by state. But in most states, it's a very, very short timeline. And if you have, and put that in contrast to the fact that the government.
It is unbelievable. Well, your company has certainly been jerked through the keyhole. Henry, we thank you very much for joining us today from Nashville to tell your story.
Thank you for having me.
You bet.
Henry, you can play the guitar, right?
I love playing the guitar.
I bet you do a good job.
Just want to make sure.